Good evening, New Bedford. This is Mike Sylvia here with New Bedford Guide. We are here to cover the Ward 1 debate. We have both candidates here. I'm here with Melissa Costa and William Markey. We are going to do a intro and we're going to ask some questions. Take your questions from home, post them in the comment section, and we'll ask them. And we are going to start with Melissa. So give us an intro, please.
All right, so my name is Melissa Costa. I am running for Ward 1 City Councilor. I was born and raised in New Bedford. I am a product of New Bedford Public Schools. I went to Parker and Kearney Academy, as well as Keith and New Bedford High class of 1994. I received my bachelor's in Sociology Social Services from UMass Dartmouth, and I later returned to Boston University to get my master's in social work. I currently work for the Department of Mental Health as well as a field instructor for the Bridgewater State University Bachelor Social Work program. I am deeply involved and invested in the community. I am a board member for the YWCA Southeastern Massachusetts, whose mission is to eliminate racism and empowering women by promoting peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. Through the YWCA, I facilitate cultural competency and racial justice training. I also co-facilitate youth police dialogues where we bring together adolescents from the community as well as New Bedford police officers, and we provide a safe forum for them where they can have open and honest conversations. And we're talking about things about stereotyping and what would you do and snitching and just building those relationships, and it's really powerful to be a part of that. I am also on the governance committee for the Greater New Bedford Suicide Prevention Coalition, excuse me, whose mission is to building a network to save lives because every life is precious. Through the organization, I have helped to facilitate citywide walks. We did that a couple of years in a row. And the coalition actually got formed in 2013 after New Bedford had experienced their 5th youth suicide. Since that time, we thought we were doing okay, but unfortunately, suicide continues to plague our community. So I'm out there, involved and invested in that and treatment and programming. I'm also involved with CCIT, that's Community Crisis Intervention Team, that is held at New Bedford Police Department, and it is a community collaboration with a number of organizations that come together to identify people who are in crisis and to provide services for them or identify some services possibly for them. I am the mom of a 17-year-old daughter who is a senior at New Bedford Voc Legal and Protective Services, and my son is 16 and he is a junior at New Bedford Voc in the Culinary Arts program. They are my reason for running. Just want to be a voice for them and for all the youth in the city. I am Melissa Costa, and I am asking for your vote on November 7th. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Markey.
Thank you. I'm William Brad Markey. Everybody knows me as Brad. William is my official name. I live out on Sassaquin Pond with my wife Jackie and my daughters Madison and Taylor. Both of my girls went through New Bedford school systems, both graduated with honors, and both got into the college of their choice. Unfortunately, the college of their choice wasn't my choice because it cost me a lot more money than I expected. But they're doing well. Madison's in a physical therapy program. It's a 7-year program for doctorates, and Taylor's a freshman for finance. I graduated from SMU, today UMass Dartmouth, with a degree in textile technology. That's what that school originated, started with textiles. I'm a sales rep for a national textile company. And basically what I do every day is go out and make things happen. That's how I get paid. That's what I need to do. I'm also dealing with my customers' needs and concerns every day. And that's kind of why I thought I'd be a good candidate for counselor, because that's what I'm doing, and I want to help the people in New Bedford as well. My parents were educators in the city of New Bedford. I owned a small business several years ago, a small restaurant, so I do understand the needs and concerns of a small business owner. I'm on the board of NBYSA, which is the Bedford Youth Soccer, teaching our youth the skills of soccer. I'm also a CCD teacher and a lector in Our Lady of Fatima Church. And as I said, the reason I'm running is we've had a good life in New Bedford, raised my family here, my daughters did well here. And basically, not to sound like a cliche, but I want to give back. So that's why I've decided to run, and I ask for your vote on November 7th, this coming Tuesday. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll ask some questions. If we can keep it to 2 minutes, I'll raise my hand and run it if you get 30 seconds, and then kind of close on that. So first question, big topic in Ward 1 is Brearley Road congestion. So coming off of 140 in that area to the industrial park. We'll start with Mr. Markey since we opened with you.
Sure.
So is there any solutions to that?
I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, what they did do was they, they put this lights for that intersection, because it was a very dangerous intersection. And actually, I was out there today, because you hear about that with the traffic. And of course, I go down Brearley Road just about every day. I try to avoid it basically it's mostly for the school, school time. So it is a limited time. But I do know, I think it was 2 years ago, when we had all that snow, and there were cars parked on both sides of the street, and you couldn't get but one way down that street. And if there was an emergency, I don't know what they would have done. So can we do better there? I mean, it's, I think, difficult just because of the monies involved to try to do something different coming off of 140. Again, is a set time where you see all that. And I know it is a concern of the people who live on Brearley Road. So I mean, that would be something definitely should be looked into. But again, that would be something you'd have to really engineer it and see what would the best way to take care of that.
Okay, Melissa?
Yeah, so I've actually been spending some time out at Brearley Road because I've been hitting the schools in the morning. And so I actually, at one time, was standing on the corner at the entrance of Pulaski School, and those big barrels was right in the middle of the road, and from where a car was parked on either side, the school bus couldn't get through. So I actually went out, moved the barrel, let the bus go through, and went back out. I was like, now I'm doing, public safety. So it is very heavily congested. And I would be interested in seeing if there is any kind of, back access to the school, to see if maybe the school buses could come in through that way, to see if there's a different way that we can kind of route things around there where maybe, the parents and the teachers are coming in one way, but then the school buses have a separate entrance, almost like New Bedford Voc does. They have a separate entrance for the school buses. I don't know if that's possible, but that is something that while being out there and witnessing that is something I would like to look into and see if that is a possibility.
Okay, so got a question on Facebook. Beth Photo, she ran in the special election, I think it's Ward 3. Her question is, what is your main priority as council of your ward, and what motions do you see yourself presenting? So I would say, what's your number one priority, and do you have a motion already kind of in mind that you present? You can get a minute on each one.
So I know it's difficult because you can't separate public safety from education, from taxes, because it's all kind of intertwined, and that's something I'm definitely learning as I'm going through this process is, they don't operate in isolation. They're all kind of overlapping one another. So I think, being aware of those things and looking at, overall the budget and the taxes from the city, trying to see how, going line by line and looking at making sure that the money is being spent the way it's supposed to be spent, for what it is. So that's definitely something that I am interested in, because that affects all of it. That affects the public safety. Right now, New Bedford is budgeted for about 310 officers, but they're operating at about 250. I believe about that or so. I could be off a little bit. So they're operating at a pretty significant deficit. Why is that? We have the rolling blackouts with the fire department. How do we look at all of those numbers? How do we look at all of those services and make the adjustments that we need, but maintain safety for the entire community? So that's definitely something to consider. As far as motions moving forward, I don't have anything specific right now. I'm still taking in all of the information that is coming in from, the people that I'm out there meeting, and I'm making, notes on all of that. And then learning the logistics of being city council will definitely help me to move forward in making motions.
Okay, Brad?
Sure. Again, quality of life in the ward is important, and that's what I would do for my constituents there is, address their needs and their concerns. They should enjoy where they live, and that to me would be the basically number one priority for a councilor is the constituents. Also, too, then you have the city, and as Melissa mentioned, taxes and what it costs for all these services. It's expensive, and everything continues to go up. So we need to look at ways to, basically either generate more revenue or cut your costs. I mean, we all do that at home. I mean, and here, the only way to generate revenue right now is with the taxes, but you can only do that for so long. So I think basically what we need to do is find ways, which they're looking at, we need to bring in manufacturing. You need to get jobs into the city, manufacturing jobs, warehouses. And again, we're looking at all this, well, the city's looking at all that now. But those are the type of things you need to do. And then on the other side is where can we cut? I mean, I don't think we can cut very much. There's not much of a budget. I think it's 15%. That's the only part of it you can cut. But maybe, look at ways that we could save money. Regional purchasing such, maybe between the towns of Taunton, Fall River, New Bedford, you pull yourself together. I mean, in my business, where the money's made is sometimes in the purchasing, because the margins are so tight. So it'd be things like that, looking at, where we could do better, and those type of things, so.
With about 30 seconds, would you have a motion in mind?
I'm with Melissa right now. I'm just learning and listening to different people and different things. So right now, off the top of my head, probably once I leave here, I'll come up with a couple of them. But right now, I'm just like Melissa. We're just looking at it, going through everything.
Okay. So we'll start again with Brad on this one. So is there a city councilor currently sitting that kind of mirrors what style you would say? Would it be anyone on the 15 members right now that you would say kind of represents what you would represents you, kind of mirrors you?
Okay, that's put me on the spot there. Let me see. I mean, I've met several. I mean, of course, Jim Oliveira I've known as because he was my counselor, so I've got to know him. Ian Abreu, counselor, I've met him just in the campaign. So, of course, Linda Morad. And I would almost like to say, and those are the three I know somewhat well. Joe Lopes is almost, a little bit of all of those. I mean, I think we're on the same wavelength, the same track of what we're looking for the city of New Bedford. I mean, of course, everybody's out. The reason we're doing it is because we want to do good for the city of New Bedford. We want the city to do good. And of course, all those particular councilors, they're all doing that. So I'd have to say a little bit of those, again, just because that's who I know, and we all seem to have the same kind of ideals.
Okay. Melissa?
So I've gotten to also meet quite a few of them through this process, and I'd like to think I stand on my own. I appreciate a lot of the knowledge that they bring and the experience that they bring. I appreciated Dana's when we had another forum where we got to speak in front of each other, and Dana's passion for social justice, definitely resonated strong with me. I know Linda is a very strong leader and a financial guru, and so I can definitely appreciate that. I think they each have their own strengths that they bring to the table, and I hope that I'm able to complement that as well and bring my own strengths to the table. But I would say I stand on my own.
So we'll start with you again, Melissa. So panhandling, it's not huge in Ward 1, but it is where people come from Boston and first come into the city, and you can't really go from the north end to the south end without bumping into about 4 or 5 panhandlers. Mm-hmm. Is there a solution, or are we kind of going to stick to what we're at right now?
Well, panhandling actually has made its way into Ward 1 with the homeless shelter that's on Mount Pleasant Street, the House of Hope. So, which I found interesting that was located there. But it's not illegal. It's a person's choice whether or not they choose to give the person the money. If it starts to become a public safety, if they start coming out into the streets, accosting people in their cars, then I think, that's ordinance violation, that's disorderly conduct, things like that. So then that's when it becomes a major issue. So, ultimately it's up to personal people, and I think panhandling in and of itself just kind of brings to the forefront some underlying deeper issues that are going on within our community, and that they're just the face of it. Whether we're dealing with homelessness, mental illness, substance abuse, those are really at the core of the panhandling, and those are the issues we need to be addressing.
Okay, Brad?
Yeah, panhandling, yes. One of it, I think it's a safety issue. You see them in Route 6 and 140. I'm amazed they let them be there. Somebody comes down Route 6 and you jump a curb, someone's going to get hurt. But again, it is legal. We should address some of the reasons why they do it. I think Some of them do have issues, could be drug issues, could be mental health issues, whatever out there. And I know we have services in the city, and maybe those people can go out, which I'm sure we already do, kind of lend a hand and try to bring them in. There might be others that are just doing it because it's make a few dollars and use it for whatever they opt to use it for. Yeah, and the other part is the image. I mean, we want to build the city. We want, tourism and things that come in. And I think it's easy for us now because we see it so much. You go by there, you don't feel obligated. I mean, somebody had said, one of the council said, well, just don't give them any money and eventually they might go away. I don't think it's that easy. But you think about just tourists coming in here. They come to our city and they kind of may feel obligated to give, or they may feel uncomfortable with that. Again, so I think it should be addressed. I mean, again, if it's legal, the legality of the whole thing, probably not much we could do, but maybe reach out to these folks and see if we can help them better than just, them collecting a few dollars on the side of the street.
Okay, thank you. So next question. Is crime down, Brad?
Well, good question. You hear it's down. The mayor says it's down, the chief says it's down, the FBI says it's down. Of course, did you read the paper and you see what's going on? It sounds like it isn't down. I'm going to have to go with the statistics. You would hope that what we're hearing out there, yes, it's down. But I also think, all of a sudden, with the murders, I mean, we've got, more murders this year than we did last year. So there's a lot more of that going on. So, obviously much bigger crimes. I would think that overall it's down. Talking to a few police officers, they're going in there, they're making arrests, and they bring them to courts. So that said, I think I would say it's down. But again, I think there's been some high-profile ones that really take it to the top.
Okay, Melissa?
So I've had the opportunity to speak to a number of officers regarding this, and what I've been told is that they've changed the way that they're reporting they're reporting the data. What may have been considered a violent crime at one time maybe has shifted into another category. I'm not sure of the specifics of that, but that's what I'm being told. And I think that, like Brad said, the high profile, when we're dealing with, there were 3 murders last year, and 1 murder is too many, never mind the 3 last year. And now here we are in, just entering November, and we're already up to 8. So there definitely have been some more high profile cases. And so I think it's a matter of, we all know that we can many of us know that data, you can make it look pretty much any way you want it to, depending on who's entering it, who's researching it, and who's coming up with the stories that they want to tell. So to the victims who have been victims of crime, they're probably going to say no, it's not down. And for others who haven't had to deal with it, they might think it's down. So it really is a matter of your own reality, whether crime is down or not.
Okay, so back to Melissa. So Walter Pyers asked, and I had this prepared, the industrial park. Is there more room to grow? And if so, what do we bring there?
Okay. So my understanding with industrial park is that there's like 1 or 2 empty buildings that are still available for rent. And then I also have heard that there is so many acres that are available, but it's a matter of whether or not it's inhabitable or able to produce on it or not. I'm not sure. That's something that I have to look into as far as like the environmental protection, see what kind of rules are around that. I know that even off of, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Is it Brayley Road? Where in front of Industrial Park, there's some land that's over there that was originally conservation land, but now all of a sudden they're supposedly going to be knocking down and building like a cul-de-sac back there. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on back there, but that is definitely something of interest to research and to know.
Okay, Brad?
Yeah, same. I was on the understanding, depends who you talk to, who you listen to. There could be 2 to 3, and then I think it was in the paper was 1. So it's hard to tell, but basically there's not a lot. And I think what we would need is, in order to build our revenue, you probably need more than what's available there anyway. And I don't think there's anything else in the city with that kind of land. So, I think we should look into it, see what we can do. If there's more room we could grow, based on, as mentioned, then I think we should look at that.
Okay, before I ask the final question, I'll remind everyone you can do absentee voting this Saturday, tomorrow. You can head down, I think it's 12 to 3, you gotta check on the website, but you can go down tomorrow, and then of course 7 in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. on Tuesday, November 7th. So I always tell everyone, get out and vote. We don't want to hear you complain on Facebook. Get out there and vote, make an impact on your city. So final question. I think I'm with Brad. So can you say something good about your opponent?
Can I say, oh, sure. It's interesting because we were just talking about it, that, it's been very civil. I mean, we started off with 7 of us, and I think we all got along fine. She's my opponent, but, I don't look at her like as an opponent. I mean, she seems very, I don't want to say too much good about her, but, you know what I mean? Because I hope I get elected. But no, I mean, she's been very nice. She's very smart. We all seem to get along good, friendly, and after this, I'm sure we'd all get together and have a beer or something when it's all said and done.
Melissa?
Thank you. Yeah, so I actually knew Brad without knowing Brad. We have a mutual friend, and so I had heard about him a few years ago, and then when we realized this is the same guy I had heard about, and we made that connection. So I have absolutely there's no ill will between us. We talk, like you said, it started out with 7 of us, came down to 2, and it really just came down to like who came out to vote. So it really is important that we all come out to vote, that we get our voices heard, and that no matter who wins, that we stand behind that person to continue to move New Bedford forward. I do hope that it is me, Melissa Costa, but it has been great getting to know Brad through this process as well.
Okay, so stay tuned. Give us about 5-10 minutes to set up. We have all 4 school committee members here. We're going to try to pack them into the house here, into the studio. So thanks for coming, and we appreciate your time.
Pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.